My wife, Faye, was an elite professional skier. But when I lost control on the slopes alongside her and her male best friend, she saved him first. Faye said Leo, her best friend, was fragile and needed to be rescued immediately. She told me to ski back down on my own. What she didn't know was that Leo had already sabotaged my skis. I wasn't going anywhere. In the end, Faye would search the entire mountain, desperately looking for a ghost. The cold was a living thing, seeping into my bones. I lay in a deep drift, watching the silhouettes of Faye and Leo shrink into the distance on their two-person ski board. I reached out a hand, trying to call out, but my chest was a cavern of fire. When Leo had accidentally collided with me, knocking me from my board, the impact had sent me crashing into the trees. A jagged branch had speared through my chest. When Faye had skied over, her first instinct was to check on Leo. The moment he whimpered about his leg, her face flooded with panic. She immediately decided to take him back on the board. Just as they were about to leave, I managed to force out the words, "Faye, wait. My chest, it hurts." A frown creased her brow. "Caleb, can you stop being so dramatic? Don't lie about your chest hurting just to get my attention. What's next? You're going to tell me you're dying." "You're an expert skier," she continued, her voice sharp with impatience. "You know this board can only carry one other person. Leo is a beginner and his leg is hurt. Of course I have to take him first." Hearing this, Leo's eyes welled with crocodile tears. "Faye, maybe you should leave me. Go back and get Caleb. I'll be fine. I'm not a good skier, but I can try to walk back." His false nobility only made Faye's expression soften. She looked back at me with disapproval. "Caleb, look at him, and then look at yourself. The difference between you two is staggering." Nothing I said could convince her. She chose to save Leo. When I finally managed to struggle to my feet, I saw the truth. One of my bindings had been deliberately broken. It must have been Leo during the collision. His own skis, perfectly intact, were already on their way down the mountain with him. The blood blooming from my chest stained the snow a brilliant, horrifying crimson. My face was a pale mask. I tried to call the ski resort for help, but there was no signal in this remote area. Clutching my chest, I began to walk, dragging my body through the wind and snow. After nearly 3 hours of agonizing progress, I found a spot with a single, flickering bar of service. I finally got through to the resort's emergency line. But after I gave them my name, I heard Faye's voice on the other end, telling them to stand down. I told them I was bleeding out, that I was losing too much blood. It didn't matter. "Don't listen to him," I heard her say to the dispatcher. "I'm a professional skier, and so is he. He's rescued people from this mountain countless times. He's just being difficult, trying to waste rescue resources when he's perfectly capable of getting back himself." Despair, cold and absolute, washed over me. The hope of rescue, so hard-won, was extinguished by my own wife. "Faye, I'm begging you, let them come," I pleaded into the phone. "I'm really hurt. It hurts so much, and there's so much blood. My skis are broken." A chilling laugh echoed down the line. "I can't believe it, Caleb. Leo called it. He said you'd use some pathetic excuse like that. Stop throwing a tantrum just because you're mad at me. Don't be a burden to others." Her next words were the final, killing blow. "Listen to me. I don't care what's happening. Even if you were actually dying today, you would ski back on your own." Her heartless pronouncement cut deeper than the branch in my chest. "All these years we've been married, don't you trust me at all?" I whispered, my voice breaking. "Faye, my leg hurts." I heard Leo whine in the background. Her tone softened instantly. "Okay, I'm coming." Before she hung up, she gave the dispatcher one last order. Ignore any further calls from me, or she would make sure they regretted it. In the freezing air, I felt my blood turning to slush. My steps grew heavier, slower, until I could go no further. I collapsed into the snow, and this time, I couldn't get back up. As death approached, my mind drifted back to when I first met Faye. It was at the Global Ski Championships. On the course, she was a vibrant, soaring goddess of ice and snow, and she skied straight into my heart. I pursued her for a year before I finally won her over. But my happiness was short-lived. A few months after our wedding, I found her diary. In its pages, she confessed that Leo wasn't just a friend. He was her white moonlight, the unobtainable love of her life. She had confessed her feelings to him when they were young, but he had rejected her. That was why she married me. I'll never forget the line she wrote. "Since I can't marry the man I love, it doesn't matter who I marry." The words were a physical blow, each sentence a fresh twist of a knife. But I was a coward. My love for her was so deeply embedded in my bones that I was terrified to confront her. I was afraid that if I pulled away the fragile curtain of best friends, she would leave me. With the last of my strength, I dialed her number one more time. It rang and rang before she finally answered. Faye, I'm dying, I begged. Please, send someone. Please save me. Caleb, can you stop being so childish? She sighed, her voice dripping with annoyance. Is this endless game of yours fun? I told you, I'm teaching you a lesson today. Maybe you'll learn not to waste people's time. No, it was Leo. He broke the ski. His plan was to. She cut me off, her impatience palpable. You dare to slander Leo? You really are despicable. I'm telling you, Caleb, I don't care if your ski is broken or not. For saying that alone, you can stay on that mountain and reflect on what you've done. Leo is a kind person. Do you think he's like you? I've known him since we were children. Do you really think you can turn me against him? How stupid. She hung up. I lay in the snow, a profound exhaustion settling over me. I hated Leo, but I also envied him. To be loved by Faye with such fierce, unwavering loyalty. My own love for her was a tragedy from the start. A loveless, one-sided marriage. She was as cold to me as the snow that was now becoming my grave. How pathetic. I had rescued so many people from this very mountain, but when it was my turn, there was no one left to save me. My last breath misted in the frigid air, and then there was nothing. After I died, my soul, untethered from its broken vessel, drifted back to Faye. She was in our cabin, gently massaging Leo's leg. Leo, you have to be more careful, she cooed, her face radiating a warmth I hadn't seen in years. Skiing is an extreme sport. If you got seriously hurt, what would I do? It's my fault for worrying you, Leo said, putting on a show of concern. But Faye, Caleb still isn't back. Should we go look for him? What if something happened? Faye's face hardened. Forget him. He's just throwing a tantrum. I'm sick of it. It would be better if he died. At least then I'd have some peace and quiet. Her words were like a rusty blade, sawing through my soul. So that's how she saw me. A nuisance. In her heart, Leo was the unattainable prize, and I was just the mud beneath her feet. Later, a call came from the resort staff. Miss Faye, we haven't received any more calls from Mr. Caleb. And since he mentioned his skis were damaged, we were thinking we should send a small team out, just to be SA. No. Faye interrupted, her voice firm. I know his skill level. He could ski through a blizzard and come back without a scratch. She was so certain. His skis aren't damaged. Stop worrying. He's just being stubborn and trying to cause trouble for everyone. She hung up. I could only laugh bitterly. With that final decree, she had ensured that even my body would never be found. If a search party went out now, they might find me. But after a few days, the scent of my blood would surely attract the mountain's predators. The area where I died was a restricted zone. We only went there because Faye insisted on taking Leo. I had followed, reluctantly, to keep them safe. On the third day, Faye and Leo went skiing on another part of the mountain, as if I had never existed. They built a large snowman outside the cabin, laughing like a couple in the throes of new love. But that night, I saw a flicker of unease in her eyes as she checked the date on her phone. She started calling my number, but after 3 days in the freezing cold, the battery was long dead. Growing annoyed, she left a voice message. Caleb, what is this? Are you trying to test my patience? Turning off your phone now? It's been long enough. This tantrum has gone on for too long. Come back. A bitter taste filled my spectral mouth. She didn't know. I could never come back. At 2 in the morning, her composure finally cracked. I saw her hand tremble as she clutched her phone. But then she shook her head, muttering to herself. It's fine. Caleb is an amazing skier. Nothing could happen to him. The irony was crushing. My skill meant nothing. I was a man, not a god. The truth was simpler. She didn't care about me. She only cared about Leo. He had a sore leg, and she treated him like a fragile invalid. I was lost on the mountain for days, my fate unknown, and she acted as if nothing was wrong. Finally, with my disappearance now official, the resort manager was notified. Brushing aside Faye's threats, he immediately dispatched a full search and rescue team. They used search dogs. After many hours, they found what was left of me in a tiger's den. The scene was so gruesome that even the veteran rescuers were shaken. When they sent Faye a photo of my remains, she stormed into the rescue center, still shouting that they were playing a sick joke, that the picture was photoshopped. Then they showed her the body bag. Trembling, she reached out and unzipped it. When she saw that only the upper half of my body remained, a choked sob escaped her lips and her eyes went wide with horror. Caleb, that's Caleb, she stammered, grabbing a staff member's sleeve, her knuckles white. This is a mistake, right? My husband is a world-famous skier. He always said the mountain was his world. How could he die here? I sneered. Yes, I had said that. But I had also told her my chest was pierced and my skis were broken, and she had refused to believe me. The staff member looked uncomfortable. Ms. Faye, it was a tragic accident. Your husband's chest was impaled by a branch, and he lost too much blood. And with all due respect, you were too confident in his abilities. Even for a professional, this is a dangerous sport. Accidents are unpredictable. Mr. Caleb called our center before he died. It was you who told us not to send a rescue team. We have the recordings. The words hit her like a physical blow. Her face went ashen. She collapsed to her knees beside my body, her hand reaching out to touch my frozen skin. Tears began to fall, one by one, onto my ravaged face. How could this happen? She whispered. Caleb, how could you die on the mountain? It's my fault. I shouldn't have stopped them. I'm so sorry. She cradled what was left of me, rocking back and forth, her expression vacant. Just then, Leo arrived. When he saw my body, a flicker of triumph flashed in his eyes before being replaced by a mask of sorrow. What happened? How could this happen to Caleb? Faye, you have to be strong. After hearing the official story, he put a comforting hand on her shoulder. Faye, I know this is hard, but what's done is done. We have to let him rest in peace. Rage boiled within my soul. The hypocrisy was nauseating. This monster, who had orchestrated my death, was now playing the part of the grieving friend. I wished I could become a vengeful spirit to tear him limb from limb. I expected Faye to lean on him, to find comfort in her white moonlight. But a strange look came over her face. She turned her head slowly, her eyes locking onto his. Leo, she said, her voice ceremoniously calm. Tell me, how could Caleb's skis just break like that? Leo was taken aback. How would I know? Faye, you don't suspect me, do you? He stammered, feigning hurt. We grew up together. Do you really think I'm that kind of person? But before he died, Caleb said you broke his skis, Faye whispered, as if finally connecting the dots. And when we were skiing, we were on separate tracks. Why did you suddenly swerve and crash into him? Panic flickered in Leo's eyes. He quickly recovered. Fine, he cried, his voice breaking with theatrical despair. If you don't trust me, then what's the point of living? I'll go kill myself right now and atone to Caleb. He bolted from the room. The staff, not wanting another incident, ran after him. Faye didn't move. She just looked at my body, tears streaming down her face. Caleb, I'm taking you home, she sobbed. We're going home. Don't be afraid. Her grief turned to a frantic self-loathing, and she began slapping her own face, over and over, until her cheeks were bruised and swollen. My soul watched, a storm of complex emotions swirling within me. The image of the vibrant, smiling girl on the ski slopes flashed in my mind. After she married me, I realized she had never truly smiled like that again. When my family saw what remained of my body, my mother fainted. When she awoke, her grief turned to pure rage. You, she shrieked at Faye. You venomous creature. I told my son not to marry you, but he was bewitched. He didn't even want to go skiing this time. It was you. You had to go with that dog of a man you keep around. Is that why my son is dead? She lunged at Faye, clawing and hitting her. Tell me what happened. Why did the three of you go, and only my son died? Give me back my son. Tears streamed down my face as I knelt, unseen, beside my mother. I had failed them all. Faye didn't fight back. She just stood there, taking the blows, her eyes fixed on my corpse. When others finally pulled my mother away, Faye's voice came out in a choked whisper. You're right, Mom. I'm a curse. I killed him. If I could bring him back, I would give my own life in a heartbeat. I'm a sinner. If it wasn't for me, Caleb would still be alive. Why? She screamed, her voice cracking with despair. Why didn't I take him back first? Then, before anyone could react, she lunged, slamming her head against the wall with all her might. The sight shocked everyone, including me. Blood streamed from her forehead as she was rushed to the hospital. She survived, but as I watched over her, I felt nothing. This wasn't love. It was guilt. In the end, Faye would always love Leo. When she recovered, she hired the best restoration specialists in the country, offering them any amount of money to make my body whole again. But the damage was too severe. No matter what they did, I still looked wrong. In a fit of despair, Faye fired them all. She spent her days sitting by my coffin, clutching a photo of me, and weeping. Caleb, I'm sorry. You gave me so much, and I can't even do this one small thing for you after you're gone. Your mother was right. You were a fool to love someone like me. They say the dead can come back as ghosts to take revenge, she whispered to my picture. Caleb, take me with you. I know I was wrong. This time, I'll follow you anywhere. I looked down at her, unafraid of my own mangled corpse, begging me to claim her soul. A cold smile touched my lips. She had no idea how little I wanted her now. Loving her had been agony. To be bound to her in death would be a fate worse than hell. At my funeral, Leo had the audacity to show up. After offering a few fake condolences, he went to Faye's side. Faye, you have to stop hurting yourself, he said, his eyes full of feigned concern for the bandage on her forehead. If you died, what would I do? She looked up, her eyes cold as ice. What I do is none of your business. Get out. I was stunned. It was the first time I had ever seen her speak to him that way. His usual act of wounded sensitivity had failed. Before he could respond, my best friend grabbed him by the collar. You have the nerve to show your face here, you pathetic homewrecker, he roared. You tormented him when he was alive, and now you're here to gloat over his grave. He beat Leo mercilessly, then forced his head down to the floor in front of my coffin, making him kowtow 3 times. Leo, his face bruised and bloody, cried out to Faye for help. She ignored him. She simply knelt, dressed in mourning clothes, mechanically burning paper money from my spirit, her face a blank mask of despair. I didn't understand her. The man she supposedly loved was being beaten in front of her, and she did nothing. Had my death finally made her realize she loved me? I dismissed the thought as soon as it appeared. I was dead because of my love for her. To hope for her love now was the ultimate foolishness. 3 months after I died, Faye dragged every ski, pole, and piece of winter gear we owned into the backyard and set it all on fire. She stood before the pyre, tears streaming down her face. That night, she got drunk. She wandered barefoot through our large, empty house, calling my name. Caleb, where are you? Stop playing hide-and-seek with me. I'm scared when I can't find you. She tripped on the stairs and tumbled to the bottom, lying in a heap on the floor. She just lay there, sobbing my name. Caleb, come help me. I fell. It hurts. After a few minutes, she fell silent, her eyes staring into the distance. Caleb, she whispered, when you were freezing to death, when the animals were eating you, it must have hurt so much. Yes, it hurt, but she would never know that the greatest pain had been her cruelty, her disbelief. The next day, she officially withdrew from the upcoming championships. Her coach, a kind man named Mike, came to plead with her. Faye, I know you're grieving, but this is the biggest event of the year, he urged. Can't you try to overcome this? She shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. I can't coach. The moment I touch a ski, I see my husband's death. I can't do it anymore. Mike sighed. But winning this championship was always Caleb's dream. You're his wife. If not for yourself, could you do it for him? Win the trophy and bring it to him. His words seemed to reach her. Let me think about it, Mike, she said. After he left, she drove to my grave, a bouquet of hyacinths in her hand. Caleb, she murmured, tracing the letters of my name on the headstone. Mike came today. He wanted us to compete together. I know how much you wanted this. I'm so sorry. I killed you, and I killed your dream. Sometimes I wish I could go back in time. I would save you, without a second thought. But it's too late. Her voice broke. The moment I saw your body, my world ended. All this time, I took your love for granted. I thought you would never leave me, no matter how I treated you. I was so selfish. She wiped her tears, her expression hardening with resolve. But I will win this for you, Caleb. I will bring you the trophy. I laughed. What good was a trophy to a dead man? Faye returned to training with a grim determination. Leo, seeing this, mistakenly thought she was moving on. He showed up at the training facility with his skis, asking for lessons. Faye's face turned to stone. Get out, she hissed. The biggest regret of my life is ever teaching you how to ski. Get out now. The other skiers, who knew our story, glared at him with contempt. What is wrong with that guy? Her husband is dead, and he's still trying to move in. Leo's face went pale. Faye, are you just going to let them talk to me like this? She looked him dead in the eye. Leo, I have to ask you one more time. Did you deliberately break Caleb's skis? And you were the one who told me he would use that excuse, weren't you? What? He saw the suspicion in her eyes. You can accuse me of anything you want, he said, his voice trembling. I never thought you would think so little of me. I'm so disappointed in you. He feigned a swoon, collapsing dramatically into the snow, expecting her to rush to his side as she always had. She just looked at him, then turned and skied away without a word. The day before the competition, Faye sat at home, watching our wedding video. On the screen, My face was alight with joy. Hers was a mask of cold indifference. The sight made her weep. Suddenly, she remembered her diary. She found it in her study and was about to write when she saw something at the very end, on the last page. It was my handwriting, a desperate plea scrawled in the margins. Faye, please love me just a little bit more. That broke her. She collapsed, her body racked with sobs. I'm sorry, Caleb. I'm a monster. How could I hurt you like that when you loved me so much? If I had known, I would have chosen you. I would have saved you, no matter what happened to Leo. But I was a fool. I knew nothing. Her regret was a palpable thing, a storm of anguish. But apologies from the living are worthless to the dead. The next day, she competed. Halfway through the race, her ski binding suddenly snapped. She was losing control. Faye, stop now, Mike yelled through her earpiece. Your equipment has failed. It's too dangerous to continue. No, she replied, her voice steady. I never did anything for him when he was alive. I will do this for him now, no matter the cost. She ignored Mike's frantic pleas, her eyes fixed on the finish line. She crossed it first, a new champion. But she couldn't stop. Her momentum carried her straight over the edge of a cliff. As she fell, I saw her face. There was no fear, only a sense of release, of peace. She survived, but her legs were shattered. She would never ski again. An investigation revealed that Leo had sabotaged her skis. He had a gambling problem and was deeply in debt. Faye's rival had paid him $500,000 to take her out of the competition. Full of resentment over her recent coldness, he had readily agreed. Faye visited him in prison. Through the glass partition, she asked him one last time if he had killed me. This time he didn't lie. Yes, I did, he spat. But he could have been saved, Faye. I didn't tell you to stop the rescue team. You're the one who let him die. How dare you blame me? His face twisted into a grotesque mask of tears and rage. You don't understand, Faye. I love you. I'm crazy about you. You love me, she said, her voice hollow. You would do this to me for a mere $500,000? You would kill the man you would kill my husband? You knew it would destroy me. So what, he screamed. I was in debt. Besides, you should have married me, not him. I loved you back then, too. But my mother. She found out you might have trouble having children, so she forbade me from being with you. I had no choice but to reject you. But it broke my heart. Faye, you have to believe me. His pathetic excuses finally opened her eyes. I hate myself, she whispered, her voice choked with tears. I hate that I didn't see you for what you were sooner. I'm such a fool. I had the best man in the world right beside me, and I was obsessed with a ghost. She turned to leave. Faye, save me, he yelled after her. Get me out of here, and I'll be with you. I don't care that you can't have children. I'll handle my mother. She never looked back. Leo was sentenced to 19 years in prison. With everything settled, Faye came to my grave with her trophy. Caleb, she said, her eyes glistening. When I was falling, I wasn't scared. I was almost hopeful that if there is another world, I might get to see you again. She placed the trophy in front of my headstone. I miss you so much, Caleb. Can you ever forgive me? It's okay if you can't. Even if we're separated by death, I will find you. Someone told her that a person's soul lingers where they died. She started believing in the supernatural, making pilgrimage after pilgrimage to the mountain. Her legs were weak, and she nearly died in the snow several times, but she refused to stop. People said she had gone mad with grief. During a massive blizzard, she escaped from a psychiatric hospital. With a compass in her hand and our wedding rings on a chain around her neck, she walked into the storm. I watched her stumble through the snow, screaming my name, falling and getting back up, again and again. Caleb, come back. I'm looking for you. If you're here, please, just let me see you one more time. I miss you so much. The cold was so intense that her tears froze on her cheeks. I watched as she became lost, as helpless as I had been. Finally, she fell and couldn't get up again. My soul drifted to her side. I reached out to touch her face. At that moment, the needle on her compass spun wildly. Her eyes widened. In the swirling snow, she saw me. She was already fading. Caleb, she breathed, a faint smile on her blue lips. It's so good to see you again. She tried to embrace me, but her arms passed through nothing. A single tear fell from my eye, and my spirit began to dissolve, fading into the white expanse. If there truly is a next life, my only wish is that Faye and I never meet again.